explain what's going on here.
The, Colony at the Grand project, which here's a diagram, if anybody's interested in looking at it, it's basically, but, if you're familiar with, where the Colony, or the state RSA built the hotel over on Colony Drive, this is Battles, I think on the bottom side, and then the section comes down. But they proposed, and they worked many months with Jonathan in the building department, planning department, and with some of our attorneys. But they wanted to take that whole entire property, and this is what they're proposing, and turn it into a tourism resort district. And in doing that, they didn't feel like they should adhere to every bit of the tree ordinance. Because in that tourism resort district, you can make different stipulations and change some things and do some proposals. And they wanted to look at the entire project as a whole, which we have often talked about doing it on big projects. They want to take this entire project and look at trying to save and preserve big stands of trees, and not necessarily save every single tree on the entire acreage. So their proposal was to put it in different zones: recreation zone, low-rise residential zone, limited commercial zone, mid-rise, high-rise. And they put it all on this big parcel property, and you could just kind of see where they are. The recreational zone was where those big, huge live oaks, if you're familiar with the property and rode the property, it's on that south end, southwest corner. That's where the biggest oaks are. Which, without being in these zones, that's right there, RZ. Without being in these zones, they could practically build on the whole thing if the building, the way the ordinance reads, if the building is an improvement, then they can take the tree down, basically, because it's an improvement to the property. Of course, all those trees are over 50 inches, I think, diameter.
What is all that property zoned now?
It is probably agriculture. It's in the county, so it's not really zoned anything. So there's more restrictions now, and them coming into and doing this tourism resort area than there would be before.
But they're in your planning jurisdiction.
They are.
So the fact that it's in agricultural, you still have planning jurisdiction approval over there.
Well,
because their density is limited by the agricultural zone.
Their density
it's not going to be agriculture. What they want to do is basically create a pod and get the tourism resort designation.
But they've already had to be permitted for the change in density that they have in place now, right? Because there's been all kind of controversy about whether
there was I think that's the whole.
That's my question: is why should they be able to allow? Why should they be allowed to densify that property any more than they already have? Well, even if especially if it's zoned agricultural in the county. Well, that's one house per one unit per 3 acres.
They have been approved to do a couple high rises, from what I understand, and this was I guess this was the compromise to try to not have any more high rises.
Well, I don't understand how they could have any more high rises anyway.
It's already been approved.
It's already, they've got like 5 buildings approved now. I mean, that's like 500 dwelling units approved for the property.
That's ridiculous.
So that would be.
They have 628 dwelling units approved for the property by the county.
Yeah.
But the controversy, and I'm involved with the lawsuits, I'll just tell you what it is. The controversy is that there was a plat or a plan approved by the County Planning and Zoning Commission, and the Pates, when I think it was Richard Pate owned the property. Right. And what was taken to them and asked for approval was 24 buildings. 8 of those buildings were to be 5-story buildings. and the rest of them were to be 3-story buildings. And it was a total of 628 units. And they gave them a 100-foot height limitation on the buildings, but that was given to put parking underneath the habitable floors to save green space. They chose just to ignore that, and they took the 100-foot height limitation and said, we can build 8 100-foot towers. And, you know, the folks on the Planning and Zoning Commission have been deposed and testified that that was not what was approved. So there's a lot of controversy on the thing. There's if there is a settlement, and one has not been reached yet, it is for approval of 1 additional tower. That's it. And then everything has to come down to 55 feet or under.
So like I said, the damage has been done, so I don't know, I don't see where they're in where they have the ability to modify their property
Well,
anymore.
the damage has not been done, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless, if you're talking about damage to the property or damage,
Well, we're a tree committee, so.
I understand.
Whatever they do.
But that damage has not been done yet, because if they meet, and this thing is in the lawsuit right now, and part of this tourism deal will be part of the settlement.
Well, are they out there with a chainsaw? I mean, are they looking at a
No,
big
well,
tree
I
and
know,
saying,
no.
if you don't approve it, we're just whack these trees down?
No, they're not there. I mean, right now, Mariah is right. There's a potential that there might be a settlement with this lawsuit, but there's a potential that it won't be settled too. I'll be perfectly candid. And so the problem is, I mean, right now it's beyond this committee's decision. I'll just be perfectly candid. You can stand up and say, hell no, you're not cutting another tree ever, and it's not going to matter. I mean,
How
it's
about
either
government?
it's
That's
going
right.
to end up either being resolved through the legal system or it'll be resolved through a compromise.
Well, obviously, I don't even know that if my opinion matters at this point on that, but my opinion would be to say, hell no, you're not cutting any trees, we're not going to bargain with you. That would be my opinion. So there's not a motion, but I'm just saying that.
The whole thing is.
The whole
it's
thing
almost
is
like
in
a
bad
big
faith to me. The whole thing is in bad faith to go to the planning commission with the county and say one thing and actually build something else.
So that's
That's
the
the
lawsuit.
crux of the
Why it's in a
lawsuit.
lawsuit.
That's why it's
crux
there.
of the lawsuit.
But
And,
it's-
you know, but who knows what could happen? The judge could say they were in their right to do it. I don't know what's gonna happen.
But Walt, this is passed through Fairhope's Planning and Zoning Commission.
I understand. So, I mean, is there a proposal before this committee right now?
No.
Okay.
No, but the reason I wanted Jennifer to speak to it was portions of this would allow the suspension of the tree ordinance for this particular piece of property.
Mhm.
We just-
Parts of it.
Essentially, they're drawing up their own tree ordinance for their property. And
What's your opinion about it?
well, it's a tourism and resort community, and the city's never allowed or been involved in creating one before. So everything apparently is somewhat negotiable. It's certainly not in their best interest to be cutting all the